President Trump framed the 2020 race at the State of the Union message by pitting capitalism against the rising interest in socialism. Joining us now, Adam Brandon with FreedomWorks and market watcher Rebecca Walser. Adam, do you agree with me that the president framed the 2020 presidential race when he said America will never be a socialist country?
I think he did. And I think if you take a step back, most of the time the State of the Union is usually forgotten about 48 hours after the event. But this clearly was the first shots fired in the 2020 presidential election. And when you have the Democrats talking about Medicare-for-all and free energy and all the rest of that, he totally set the bar. Like, this choice in 2020 is going to be about, do we want free markets and the benefits of capitalism and the benefits of democracy, or do we want mob rule and socialism?
Okay, Adam, before we leave you, I just want to ask, do you think that today's Democrat Party is essentially a socialist party?
I look at their base, and that's what they're demanding. And you were earlier talking about Europe and its recession. Europe's problem is it's got too much government in its economy. If you pull back some of the government, you'll leave room for the private sector to grow in Europe. That's the problem for a long time. But absolutely, today's Democratic Party, JFK would not have a home in this party.
You ever thought you'd see the day when an American president says America will never be a socialist country? That's for you, Brandon.
Absolutely. You look at just the college campuses, all of this has been building up to this point. But the good news is if you believe in free markets, look at the prosperity it brings people. I'll take this fight, and it seems every generation we got to take another look at socialism to realize it doesn't work.
Yes, sir. I'm with you on that one. Rebecca, you're our money person, but I'm going to ask you the same. I guess it's a political monetary question. Am I right? Did the president frame the 2020 debate as capitalism versus socialism?
Stu, there is no doubt that that is exactly what he did. And he has to, because I just wrote an opinion piece about this for Fox Business. Let's be clear about this. The Democratic Party is going to socialism. We have a couple of polls that came out last year that show that 70% of Americans are for Medicare-for-all, that millennials have a better opinion of socialism versus capitalism. So we have got a huge fundamental shift on how we view economic liberty in our country, and we've got to stand up, and the president did this at the State of the Union. He stood up and said, we are a people of liberty and freedom, not government coercion. And that is the absolute best thing he needed to do, because we are fighting socialism. Let's be clear.
Okay, Rebecca, now you're our money person in this debate at this moment. Let's suppose that the socialists look good heading into 2020. They've got a leftist candidate at the head of the ticket, and they're polling well. Does the market go down?
Stu, it can't do anything but go down. Medicare-for-all, the Left-Leaning Urban Institute did an economic results study on for 10 years of Medicare-for-all. $32 trillion. $32 trillion for just a decade. Our entire debt federally since the beginning of the Republic is $22 trillion right now. We cannot afford Medicare-for-all. This is the end of America as we know it economically. So people have got to wake up and realize we are already, with the retirement of the boomers, going for headed for an economic shortfall. Medicare-for-all, free education, universal basic income, which are all the tenets of a socialist platform, it is not economically viable, and we will go the way of every other empire that is imploded upon itself like the Roman Empire.
Okay, hold on a second, everybody, and take a look at futures. This is Thursday morning. Let's have a look how we're going to open up. We're not opening up, we're opening down. Europe is affecting our markets here. The Europeans have just toned down their growth forecast for this year. Way down. In fact, Europe's on the brink of recession. And yet, they have printed a ton of money. They've got interest rates below zero. They've got no tools left to fix their problem. So, Rebecca, are you with me on this? Is Europe a part of our problem today on Wall Street?
Yes, Stu, that's exactly what it is. We went from 1.9% projected growth for the year to 1.3%. Huge decline. And obviously, just like you said, they're out of tools. They have already printed the money. They've already quantitative eased. They have low interest rates, next to nothing. So where do they cut from here? What does the ECB do? What does the Bank of England do? Today they're meeting. Teresa's going back to Brussels. We've got Brexit and a hard Brexit also pushing down growth projections. So Europe is a problem, and we don't have the tools. zone. We don't want that to happen here. We're far from that, Stu, but we could have the same thing happen if we don't normalize to some case. So yeah, Europe and its slow growth projections, we are now projecting first quarter growth at 0.3%. So we've had a great earnings season, but 0.3% for the U.S. for the first quarter is a problem, and it is a global slowdown that is what is getting us our low projections now.
Ouch. All right, Adam, Rebecca, both of you, thanks very much for joining us. Always appreciate it.